The Spirit in the Bottle, a tale from the Brothers Grimm. There was once a poor woodcutter who toiled from early morning till late at night. When at last he laid by some money, he said to his son, "You are my only child, and I will spend the money which I have earned with the sweat of my brow on your education. If you learn an honest trade, you can support me in my old age, when my limbs have grown stiff and I am obliged to stay at home." Then the boy went to a school and learned diligently, so that his masters praised him, and he would remain there a long time. When he had worked through 2 classes, but was still not perfect in everything, the little pittance which the father had earned was all spent, and the boy was obliged to return home. "Ah," said the father sorrowfully, "I can give you no more. In these hard times I cannot earn a farthing more than will suffice for our daily bread." "Dear father," answered the son, "do not trouble yourself about it. If it is God's will, I will turn it to my advantage. I shall soon get accustomed to it." When the father wanted to go into the forest to earn money by helping to cut and stack wood, the son said, "I will go with you and help you." "Nay, my son," said the father, "that would be hard for you. You are not accustomed to rough work, and will not be able to bear it. Besides, I only have 1 axe, and no money left with which to buy another." "Go to our neighbor," answered the son. "He will lend you his axe until I have earned one for myself." The father then borrowed an axe from the neighbor, and the next morning at break of day they went out into the forest together. The son helped his father and was quite merry and brisk about it. When the sun was right over their heads, the father said, "We will rest and have our dinner, and then we shall work twice as well." The son, however, took his bread in his hands and said, "Just you rest, father, I am not tired. I will walk up and down for a while in the forest and look for birds' nests." "You fool," said the father, "why should you want to run about? Afterwards you will be tired and no longer able to raise your arms. Stay here and sit down beside me." The son, nevertheless, went into the forest, ate his bread, was very merry, and peered in among the branches to see if he could discover a bird's nest. So he walked to and fro until at last he came to a dangerous-looking oak, which must have been already many hundreds of years old, and which 5 men could not have spanned. He stood still and looked at it, and thought, "Many a bird must have built its nest in that." Then all at once it seemed to him he heard a voice. He listened and became aware that someone was crying in a smothered voice, "Let me out! Let me out!" He looked around but could discover nothing. Then he thought the voice came out of the ground, so he cried, "Where are you?" The voice answered, "I am down here amongst the roots of the oak tree. Let me out! Let me out! I am down here amongst the roots of the oak tree. I am down here amongst the roots of the oak tree. Let me out! Let me out!" The son began to loosen the earth under the tree, and to search among the roots until at last he found a glass bottle in a small hollow. Then he lifted it up and held it against the light. Inside he saw a creature shaped like a frog springing up and down, and it cried, "Let me out! Let me out!" The young lad, thinking no evil, drew the cork out of the bottle. Immediately a spirit ascended from it and began to grow and grow. It grew so fast that in a very few moments he stood before the boy, a terrible fellow as big as half the tree. "Do you know," he cried in a terrible voice, "what your reward is for having let me out?" "No," said the boy fearlessly. "How should I know that?" "Then I shall tell you," cried the spirit. "I must strangle you." "You should have told me that sooner," said the boy, "for then I would have left you in the bottle. But my head shall remain fast for all you can do. More persons than one must be consulted about that." "More persons here, more persons there," said the spirit. "You shall have the reward you earned. You think I was shut up for such a long time as a favor? It was a punishment for me. I am the mighty Mercurius. Whoever releases me, he must I strangle." "Slowly," said the boy, "not so fast. I must first know that you were really shut up in that little bottle, and that you are the right spirit. If indeed you can get in again, I will believe it. Then you may do as you will with me." The spirit said haughtily, "That's a trifling feat." He drew himself together, made himself as small and thin as he had been at first, so that he could creep through the same opening and right into the neck of the bottle again. Scarcely was he within than the boy thrust the cork back into the bottle and threw it among the roots of the oak in its old place, and the spirit was deceived. Now the schoolboy was about to return to his father, but the spirit cried out piteously, "Do let me out! Please let me out!" "No," cried the boy, "not a second time. He who has once tried to take my life shall not be set free by me, now that I have caught him again." "If you will set me free," said the spirit, "I will give you so much you will have plenty all the days of your life." "No," said the boy, "you would cheat me as you did last time." "You are spurning your own good luck," said the spirit. "I will do you no harm, but will reward you richly." "I will venture it," the boy thought. "Perhaps he will keep his word, and anyhow he will not get the better of me." Then he took out the cork, and the spirit rose up from the bottle as he had done before, stretched himself farther and farther, until he had become big as a giant. "You shall have your reward," said he, and handed the boy a little rag like sticking plaster, and said, "If you spread one end of this over a wound, it will heal, and if you rub steel or iron with the other end, it shall be changed to silver." "I must try that now," said the boy, and went to a tree, tore off the bark with his axe, and rubbed it with one end of the plaster. Immediately it closed together and was healed. "Now it is all right," he told the spirit, "and we can part." The spirit thanked him for his release, and the boy thanked the spirit for his present, and they both went away. "Where have you been racing about?" said the father as the boy returned. "Why have you forgotten your work? I always said you would never come to anything." "Be easy, father, I will make it up." "Make it up indeed," said the father angrily. "There's no use." "Take care, father, I will soon hew that tree over there so that it will split." Then he took his plaster, rubbed the axe with it, and dealt the tree a mighty blow. But as the iron had changed into silver, the edge bent. "Just look, father, what a bad axe you've given me. It's become quite crooked." The father was shocked and said, "What have you done? Now I shall have to pay for that, and have not the wherewithal, and that is all the good I have got from your work." "Don't get angry," said the son. "I will soon pay for the axe." "You blockhead," cried the father. "With what shall you pay for it? You have nothing but what I give you. These are students' tricks that are sticking in your head. You have no idea of woodworking." After a while the boy said, "Father, I really can work no longer. We had better take a holiday." "What?" cried the father. "What? Do you think I will sit on my hands lying in my lap like you? I must go on working. You can take yourself off to home." "Father, I'm here in the wood for the first time. I don't know my way home. Please come with me." As his anger had now abated, the father at last let himself be persuaded and went home with the son. Then he said to him, "Go and sell your damaged axe and see what you can get for it. I must earn the difference in order to pay our neighbor." The son took the axe and carried it into town to a goldsmith, who tested it, laid it in the scales, and said, "It is worth $400, but I have not so much as that by me." "Give me what you have," said the son. "I will lend you the rest." The goldsmith gave him $300, and remained 100 in his debt. The son thereupon went home and said, "Father, I have got the money. Go and ask our neighbor what he wants for the axe." "I know that already," said the old man. $1, 6 groschen. "Then give him $2, 12 groschen. It is double and enough. Here, I have money in plenty." And he gave his father $100. "You shall never know want any more, for you may now live as comfortably as you like." "How have you come by these riches?" cried the father. The son told how all had came to pass, and how he, trusting in his luck, had bargained with the spirit in the bottle. With the money that was left, he went back to the high school, and went on learning more, and as he could heal all wounds with his plaster, he became the most famous doctor in the world. The end. Tales were put together by people who were less than sober. Sober. Less than sober. Were put together by people who were less than sober. Who were less than sober. Sober. Were less than sober. Sober. Were put together by people who were less than sober.